texting while driving, and the law was originally for 18 and under, and then the state legislature decided otherwise. So, do you guys think the law should only be applied to those under 18, or do you think there should be a law against talking on your phone as well?
I think that it should be applied to everyone because, from my experience, older people are actually worse at texting than younger people, and I could see the older people making more mistakes while driving than texting. But I still think the overall thing should be approved because I've seen people texting and getting a crash. I've heard my friends texting and getting a crash. It's a horrible idea. It really makes you less safe while you're driving.
So then, do you guys think that this should be implemented in Iowa?
Well, can I throw my 2 cents in on the whole driving and texting thing?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay. I hate to go back, but I just think that the amount of concentration for texting is so much different than calling. So I agree that this ban on texting should be for everybody, but I'd like a whole phone ban, like talking on the phone for all drivers under 18. You know, because at that point, you've only been driving for 2 years. And
so you want talking off the phone ban for drivers under 18?
Yeah, but over 18, you can use your phone to call.
So what? But that gets a little shaky there. And
why?
You're going to have police officers that are forced to profile.
No,
I mean, what if? Okay,
it's the only way that the police will pull it over.
One of us might look 18.
Right, I understand that, but
we're going to get pulled over. We're going to have issues.
The way that it would function would be that they would only pull somebody over if they're causing a problem. They're not going to profile. Are you 18 on the phone? Because if you can drive and talk on the phone, the officer's not going to pull you over unless it's against the law. And
I thought you just said you wanted it to be against the law
for under 18. But the only way that they would pull you over is that if you're causing a problem. I mean, if you're driving on the
if someone's causing a problem and they're over 18, they cannot get pulled
No,
over.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the argument was that they would profile people and they'd be forced to profile teenagers, and I don't agree with that. I'm saying the only reason they would have to pull somebody over for talking on the phone would be, are they causing a problem driving recklessly? And in that case, then everyone's at fault because driving recklessly is against the law.
Well, yeah, but then what? Why do they need that extra law then?
I just don't. Well,
they just pull the person over for driving poorly.
Well, they could.
Yeah. So you don't need another law. I mean, unless you're going to add some sort of extra citation on there. I mean, what would you do?
That's what I mean. Like another
fine.
Yeah, for drivers under 18 to discourage that behavior. That's what the function of a fine is to discourage a behavior.
Well, I know what a function of the function of a
so
fine.
That's just my idea.
It's just a matter of.
So the implication of the law that I was suggesting is another deterrent for teenagers to not use their phone at all while driving, because if they get pulled over for another reason and they find out that they're on the phone, that's another fine. And it will also encourage better driving habits at a younger age. Because you're only driving for 2 years when you're 18.
If you're gonna go that way, I think it should be universal. Everyone under and over 18 should have that same. Because it doesn't matter if they're younger or older, they're still going to drive more poorly if they're on the phone.
Exactly. I think it should be an added citation.
You can drive and talk on the phone,
but I think that
unless you're having
it should be an added citation for everyone. I don't understand why it has to be 18 and under. I mean, I completely get your theory that I agree that it would be a good tool to teach younger drivers, but I don't see a reason why a 30-year-old who can't drive while talking on the phone shouldn't get that same fine, especially when there's so much cut in public safety right now. But do you guys think that it should be brought to Iowa?
Yeah, I actually think it should be on a federal level.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Marcus?
Brought
to Iowa, federal level, agree?
I would say that, yeah, I guess. I mean, it causes a serious, problem for people.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna reduce the people using their phone, I mean, I've done it, but it's usually at a red light, but that doesn't justify it. And I know if it was against the law, I probably wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it would work.
It'd be a huge deterrent.
Right.
And I mean, when I was I completely agree with bringing it to Iowa, because when I was a reporter, the only fatal car accident I covered was someone who was texting and then wasn't paying attention, and that's just never want to cover one of those again.
Okay,
so,
well,
I think should be a law. I don't know about federal, but it should be a law.
I'll bring it back to the phone calls. I actually don't think we need for talking on the phone. I just think we should have it for texting. Because with texting, you need to take your eyes literally off the road while texting and devote yourself to texting. With calling, you can still look around and be talking to someone on the phone. Because I don't think the calling one's necessary.
So then, what about requiring it to be a hands?
That's what I was going to say. What about the caveat of Bluetooth, or even like the new Fords have that Microsoft Sync technology where you literally you have your phone through your speakers. So what do you think about wireless devices and like things that you're not physically holding the phone, so you could have both hands on the wheel and it would just be a mental distraction?
Oh, I think that's perfectly perfect because people can talk in the car to each other, so I don't see how that'd be any different than talking to a wireless device.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree.
That's solid logic by my thoughts. So,
all right. Well, we will be right after this. We have a PSA announcement, and then we are going to come back with treating drug addiction with more drugs. So we'll be back after this.
Welcome back to Informavores. This is Marcus.
This is Ryan Jones.
And Alex Schumann.
And if you guys out there listening would like to follow us on Twitter or Facebook, that'd be greatly appreciated. We really love all the input you guys can give us. We're also on email at informavores11@yahoo.com. So let's jump right back into our show here today. There's an interesting story out of England that broke yesterday. A new government-funded program is treating heroin addicts. Sounds good, right? Well, this program is actually giving heroin addicts doses of heroin. So the idea is that it's a support group and it offers not only emotional support and, all the things that a normal rehab program would. They're actually giving these drug addicts heroin in slowly decreasing doses to eventually, hopefully, break them from their addiction. It has early results of being good, and the people that are in the program say that it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to them, and they feel like they can finally do stuff. The only thing is, it costs an astronomical amount. It costs $22,000 per person per year. So think of how many heroin addicts there are in the world. I guess in England, but anyway, there's a lot of them. I mean, that's a huge amount. There are. That's an awful lot of. It's an awful lot of money. Having brought that up, and I know there's not a lot of to talk about. Well, not a lot of details.
What's your question?
I'm getting to it. What's your first impression of the program of giving drug addicts more drugs, but in the hopes of decreasing them?
Oh, my first impression is really, but then I started to think about it, and heroin's a terrible drug, and I think that we should do it if it helps at all to get rid of their addiction.
I think you also are. I mean, I agree. I'm leaning that direction. The more I think about it, the more I lean that way, because you also have to remember that in England, the government's doing it because the government runs the healthcare system.
Right.
So, although $22,000 is a lot of money, I would not want this to be implemented in the United States. But I do I think a system similar to this, if it could be done through some sort of nonprofit, would be amazing.
England cites their reasoning for this as they tied drug users into street violence and the people purchasing illegal drugs, which increases the drug trafficking.
Yeah.
So they're trying to decrease these things by providing them legally with their drugs and break them of their addiction.
So they legalized heroin?
No, that's the thing.
Heroin. So the government is providing
illegal illicit drugs to the people.
This changes it.
Yeah. Heroin is still an illegal narcotic drug.
A quick side note: where's the government getting their heroin?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. I don't know. What do you guys think about we talked about the cost, $22,000. We've talked about the cost. It's $22,000. What do you guys think of that number? I mean, that's obviously a lot of money for one person.
It's quite ridiculous. If they could lower that price tag a little bit, but $22,000 per person, that's a lot to pay.
Heroin is very expensive, apparently.
Well, I'm sure a lot of that goes to the oversight and stuff too. But it's just the next question beyond that is how do you qualify someone for this program if it costs so much? Or is it just first come, first serve? Because I know a lot of people that would just be like, me first, because their first thought is that A, they want to probably break their addiction, but B, on the side note, they're going to get heroin.
Well, yes, they're going to be weaned off it in a healthy way, but it's just so interesting. I can't imagine. That's a very, very good question, because there's got to be a lot of drug addicts who aren't in the program or who can't get in the program, so I wonder what the requirements are. The article doesn't list any requirements, so
a thought. Maybe you can go into this program and the state will pay for some of it, but over the course of your life, after you get unaddicted to the drug, that you will have to pay back some of this money.
So you're saying like the government will provide like a down payment on you regaining your
because that should
give you a loan on your heroin.
Yeah, because that should weed out the people who are just looking for the heroin. because you'll have to actually pay for this.
See, that's an idea that sounds great in theory, but in practice, how are you going to be able to track down and enforce legally these people to pay it back? When, I mean, hypothetically,